All right, today we are going to put a cam in this engine. First things first, we're going to loosen the cam chain adjuster, pull these little covers off so that we can adjust the valves as needed. Then this cover comes off. Be prepared to catch a little bit of oil. All right, got these covers off, laid the bolts next to them so you don't get them mixed up. It really doesn't matter if you do get them mixed up, they're all the same length, just personal preference really. Then this little bolt right there has to come loose. That's a 14 millimeter, and I'm gonna do this cam swap without draining any oil because that's coming later. So then we got to take this 12 millimeter off. Before we do that, we're going to pull these engine plugs here and here and set the engine to top dead center. All right, we've got the engine set to top dead center. What you're going to do is take a 17 millimeter socket and put there, turn it so that you see, I don't know if you can see in that hole there, but there's a line with a T and there's a little notch. You want to line all that up. Your cam's going to be sitting about like that, and it should be at top dead center. Then we're going to take a 12 millimeter socket and pull this gear off. We'll come back when I get that done. All right, we got the bolt out, so now we're just going to work on getting the cam gear off of the camshaft. And there's going to be a little bit of tension on it. Shouldn't be too much because we pulled the timing chain tensioner bolt. So that's off. Cam chain's right there. It's not going anywhere. Luckily the engine's laying kind of flat so it doesn't disappear on us. We're going to leave it there for now. And I'm going to grab a 10 millimeter. If you can see, this bolt right here is the one holding the cam. So we'll pull that, get the cam out. Power off. All right, so you're basically, when you take this thing out, you're gonna kind of have to spin it and work it past this compression release thing. Kind of gets in the way. Good news is the new cam doesn't have that. So we're gonna lay that to the side. We're gonna whip out our new performance cam, little T-bolt cam here. So I'm just gonna take a little oil. Actually, I'm not gonna take that oil. That oil kind of sucks. So we're gonna take a little oil. We're gonna lubricate this just to make sure everything gets a good surface, get a good lubrication on the surface before we start it up for the first time. And then of course the head itself will do all its own lubrication. So we're gonna lube this up, and then we're just gonna slide it back in. So when you slide it in, you're gonna wanna push your valves down to make sure that they're not hitting. Make sure that your little tappets are not hitting the cam itself. So basically that right there is all there is to it. Now I'm gonna pull this back out and put some oil on it, but we'll come back when I get that done. Friends the butthole. All right guys, so new cam is in. You don't have to worry about anything right now. The cam's in. We're gonna reset the valves, reset the timing and everything. So right now we're just gonna put the retainer back on, and it's got some little tabs in here. If you're doing this yourself, you'll see them better in person, but it just kind of helps keep everything in. These tabs right here are actually what the valve rocker arms hook to. So if you pull those out, your valve rocker arms will fall out, which is, you know, not what you want to happen. So just tighten all that up, make sure it's holding that in and that and that. So it's got 3 jobs that little joker's got to do. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work the cam gear back in here and get it back on the camshaft, and then we'll reset timing. All right guys, so the cam gear is back on, top dead center. We're checking that, make sure that we still got the little line with the T lined up. Then you're gonna notice that little dot there. I don't know if you can see that good in the video, but yeah, there's a dot there, and then This little dimple right there tells you that the top end is at top dead center. This would mean that the bottom end is at top dead center. So everything is centered up. We'll double check once we get this bolt in. We'll get that bolt in and then tighten up that timing chain bolt and just verify everything's still good, and then we'll adjust the valves. Okay guys, what we're gonna do now is adjust these valves to make sure that they are in spec. Spec for this cam is 0.0045. I don't have a gauge that goes to the 5. It only does just the 0.004. So since these are just like little adjustable tappet deals, we're just gonna get it where it's not so tight, and as long as it's not like dragging heavily, it should be fine. That's for this cam. The stock cam has a different spec. I don't remember where I got the number for the new cam, but I did get it, but I just don't remember who gave it to me, so ignore that part of it. So yeah, all right, so I'm gonna adjust these, and all we're doing is basically tightening or loosening this nut here, and then turning the top part to tighten it down, and then once we get it to where it barely drags on this, then we're just gonna tighten down the nut so that it doesn't back out. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. All right, so valves are adjusted, bike's running, everything seems to be pretty good. Valves are adjusted to spec. Just keep in mind when you change this cam, the cam's gonna make more noise. You're gonna hear more noise from the valve train. So don't be alarmed. It's kind of normal. So what we're gonna do with this one is we're gonna run it, maybe put 100, 200 miles on it and just double check the valve clearance, make sure everything's good. You should notice a little more lopey idle over the stock cam, and you may notice a little bit of power increase, but it is still a Grom, so don't get your hopes up. But for 65 bucks, why not? All right, thanks.